Hello everyone, welcome once again to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we'll be looking at how to calculate the average of a data set based on grouping. That is, we're grouping the data set and calculating the mean, that is the average of each group of the data set. My video titled Data Analysis on Your Mobile Phone, Apple Mobile App Store Project. We calculated the percentage of the apps, and we also calculated the average rating of the apps. I will put the link to that project in the description. Now, in calculating the average of the apps based on the gen, we had to create two dictionaries where we put total number of the apps and we put the total rating of the apps under a particular gen, then we divided it. So that was the mean we were finding. Averages also can be used interchangeably as mean. So that was a long process. But here we can see a shorter way of doing it. You can see average rating, and just one line of code did everything. What we used so many lines of code to do in that project, just one line of code did everything. So now I'm going to be explaining what the line of code did. First and foremost, we imported pandas. We opened our data set and put it in a data frame which we named df. So here I decided to print out the data frame so that we can compare the original data with the result we are going to get. So now the average rating. Now let me run the code so that you can see how the original data set is. Now you can see the original data set here from 0 to 14. So we have 15 apps and we can see the rating. Now the number of columns are more than this, but I decided to just display only these two columns so we can see everything clearly. So let's go back to our code. So we have 15 apps in this data set. It's just a part of the original data set which I'm using here. So now we want to calculate the average rating. And we know to calculate average, which is also mean, it involves you taking the total number of sample data, then you divide it, you take the total number of the rating count and you divide it by the total number of apps. That's how we find the mean in this case. So now, when you check the sample data, the data as I displayed it, we can see, for example, let me run it again. In under games, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 games. And under reference, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So, for example, if we take the reference and want to find the mean or the average of the reference, we have 4 reference apps. So we're going to total the rating count. So add this rating count plus this rating count plus this rating count plus this rating count. Then we're going to divide it by 4. So that's how to find the mean. So what this line of code did, it says df, this is the df here, which is the original data set, dot group by. Now, what does group by do? Group by takes the data set. For example, if you're looking at employee data set now, you know the employee data set had different departments. So if you say group by department, it's going to take each department. So it's take HR department, total the salaries of all the staffs under HR department and divide it by the total number. So that is what we are doing here now. So this group by is grouping it by prime gen. That prime gen is a gen column, which we have reference, we have games, and so on. So now it takes, for example, the reference gen, then this mean takes the total number of rating. You can see mean rating count. It takes the total number of rating of all reference apps. divide it by their total number, then it will give the result. It does the same for games. Get the total number of rating for all the game apps and divide it by the total number of games. So that is what this line of code does. Then the reset index tells it where to start from. And then I printed my result. So let's see how it is. I printed only the prime gen and the rating count column. So this is the original table. Prime gen rating count. We can see we have 15 apps counting from 0 to 14. And we can see when it was grouped, we are only having 7 groups, which involves finance, games, music, productivity, reference, shopping, utility, and weather. So now let's look at, for example, utility. The answer to utility here is 117. Why? Because we have only one utility. So it will say total number of utility is 117 divided by 1, and we're still going to have that. The same thing with weather too. We have only one weather, and that is 188583. The same thing. You can take your time to go through the results. You can calculate that of games, dividing it by, I think that is 5. You can take that of reference, get the total and divide. You will see that the result is correct.